So welcome again, everybody. For the second time around, we're hosting another Summer Design Sprint Network session. For today, what you can expect is an amazing workshop prepared to us by both Benjamin and Jeremy. Both of them are experienced designers and workshop facilitators. Benjamin himself is working as a mural designer. It's a job that has no title because it's pretty new. They created it for him, and you'll see why in just a minute. And Jeremy here, who is joining us, is the founder of Boardle.io. It's a collaboration tool as well, and does a lot of innovation workshop. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and I'll hand it over to them to get us started.
Thank you, Kim. Maybe we shall introduce first and then we share the template link, or how do you want to proceed?
Yeah, sounds good. I'll introduce the template link.
All right. So hi, everyone, and thanks for joining. I'm Benjamin, and yeah, I'm working for Mural now as a mural designer, which is kind of funny. I've been designing boards since last year, I guess, and I was freelancing, like workshop. And kind of they noticed me, I think, on the social network, and they offered me a position. And now it's been 4 months I'm working with them, and it's even better than I could imagine because I'm really focusing on designing boards now. So it's great, and I can see stuff from the inside. I'm happy to be with you here, and we will share what we know. And I will let Jérémy introduce himself, and after we'll jump into the template.
Thanks, Benjamin. So yes, I am Jérémy. I am a 10 years product manager with of background. My main job is it's a product manager consultant, but since 1 year, I am the founder of Boardle.io. It's a great resource to find all the workshop. So yes.
And maybe now we can jump into the template. Yeah. Okay, the link is in the chat. We will just meet you there, and let's go. Oh, we have Lisa.
So for anyone who's new to Mural or who's never used Mural before, you can actually just enter as a visitor. You don't have to have an account. You don't even have to enter your name. You just enter as visitor and you're in. And if you have any trouble, just let us know in the chat. If you have any questions, also just pop it in the chat and we'll save it for Jeremy and Ben later.
All right, so how many people do we have in the Mural so far? You are 11. Let's wait a few more seconds. So if you're already in the Mural, we would like you to be on the left side of the Mural, and I can probably summon you to start. And if you have trouble joining, just let us know in the chat as well.
So I will just introduce the session, and you can begin with the icebreaker. So during the next 30 minutes or 45 minutes, so we are going to introduce you how to design your whiteboard on Miro, Mural, or all the other whiteboard app you can have. So we are going to explain the main layout you can find on all the board. We will give you a little bit of level of different whiteboard, and we are going to give you some tips to use when you design your workshop on the whiteboard app. So Ben, I'll let you introduce. Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we are going just to perform a quick icebreaker that we created for this event. And actually it's an icebreaker around your stack, I would say, the tools you like to use at work or in your personal life. I will just ask you to come to the very left. So you have a lot of icons that we created for this. You should take one guy from the catering design that is on the top. They are locked, but as you can see, there are 5 placeholders. So you should drag one icon of your favorite tool. If you need some help on the left, we explain like if there's the OS, the Visio conference, collaboration tool. and everything. But if you want to put 2 or 3 social network, you can if you prefer. And we just like to see what people are using, you know, and I think it's a funny way as we are all in the tech industry kind of. So some people are already starting. I can see. I will just add, I think, 2 minutes, 3 minutes timer in case, and we can see what it looks like after. We made our own with Jérémy on the right in the entrance hall, if you want to see how it works. And we can see some people who are already like Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. All right. And Kim, I think you can do it also if you want. You have enough space here. And if you have trouble using Mural, don't hesitate to ask questions on how to move or create a sticky. We didn't explain the basics, but no problem. If you need help, just let us know.
Benjamin is an expert of Mural.
No one is totally an expert of Mural, I guess.
Hey, Benjamin, I don't see Basecamp here.
Yeah, I didn't create the icon last time and I forgot it. So, but you can add a post-it, a sticky actually with Basecamp, and you can put it on your profile if you want.
Yes, Basecamp is quite nice app.
Yeah, Basecamp. At Mural, we are on the Slack Asana stuff, and Asana is always a pain. Okay, so I think we have 1 minute left, but we are almost good. So some people added more apps, but I guess it's fine. And I'm happy to see there is a lot of Miro also, Mural. It seems it's 50-50. Just trying to gather some info for my company. All right, so 50 seconds. Paper notes, right? I think it's pretty relevant and useful, but my writing is terrible. That's why I'm better in the digital. And we have butter, and yes, we could have used meat butter, but I felt like as it's on Mural, not Miro, it would have been easier with Mural and Zoom for the moment. But by the way, they are preparing an integration with Mural and butter, maybe before the end of the year, which would be great. Just to let you know. Okay, so we are good now. I think time is up. If you are finishing, just take a few seconds. Otherwise, we're going to move to the right in the entrance hall. If you want to follow me, or you can just follow by yourself. So I think Jérémy is more of a LinkedIn, Figma. I think we are almost say Figma, LinkedIn, Notion, and Miro, and I'm a Microsoft guy, yeah, and Zoom. Yeah. I could have added YouTube and other things, but anyway. Jérémy, do you want to say 1 word about your stack, or it's fine?
No, it's fine.
All right, so I will give it to you anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So on the first part, we are going to focus on how to layout your board. So when you do a workshop is an addition of activity. So you will have normally you will have your icebreaker, all the activity you need, and you will have to close your workshop with another activity. So when you prepare your workshop on the whiteboard app, Miro or Mural, you can use a different layout of to lay out all the activity with all the instruction and everything. So on the first part, we have noticed all the different layout you can use. So for example, for the first one, the horizontal layout was one of the easiest layout to use. It's like classic when you just put all the activity from left to right. It's the same for the second one. It's the vertical layout. I like to say that this one is more like all the user from PowerPoint. So they just put all the activity from the top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, and it's more like a slide activity you can do. And then you have two different layout, more complex than the horizontal and the vertical. So you have the left to right layout, and you have the agenda layout. Both of them are quite useful. For example, when you do like multiple day workshop, for example, if you do a design sprint, it was nice to display in one line or on the column all the activity of one day. It's more clear for the user, for the participant, and then you can just put, okay, day one, day two, day three. So yeah, I like to use this layout of activity when it's multiple day workshop. Then I really like the next one. It's the centric layout. You can use it, for example, when you need to work on something very special. For example, if you work on a user journey or something like that, and you have all the if you have different activity, but you need to have a main object or a main user journey or a main, for example, mockup on everything. So you just put the main activity in the center, and after you have all the activity around this one. The next one is one I think it's one we prefer with Ben. It's like we call it the storytell layout. So it's like, for example, for this meetup, we design all the workshop as like a museum visit. So with the stair, all the room and everything. So we like to use this one because for a lot of people you can put more how do you say engagement? I don't remember.
Engagement.
Yes, you can put participant and more engaged on the workshop. So, and after you have the freestyle layout where you can put the huge here, so you just put all the activity where you can. So here for all the layout, I don't know if you have any question about all this layout. And
yeah, let us know. Otherwise, maybe we can go to the auction room to the bottom.
Yeah,
it can help start the conversation. So we want to hear about you. So it's in the auction room, and I can just summon you. Sorry for this. And we are going to start the voting session. We just want to know what is your favorite layout. I think one vote is enough. And if you don't know how to use the voting tool, just let us know. Oh, Melinda. If you have trouble joining the Mural, tell us. So, which is my favorite? A few people left. Good. Three more people. Anyway, I go for the vote. Let's see if in 10 seconds Yeah, I think, Kim, we can end the voting session. I guess the few people maybe are not here and we don't want to lose too much time with this activity. All right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It seems the first one is the kind of agenda layout. Yeah. In front of the Storytel, the agenda, the Storytel board. I guess it makes sense because it's a bit probably easier to follow, because if you don't get the Storytel, the workshop right, people will be lost, I guess. So probably that's why. If someone wants to reflect about his or her vote, we can have 1 minute for this. Yeah, and for the sprint, of course, makes sense. Someone wants to say something, or we are good to go? I think we are good. Okay, so now we are going to the top floor, which is the workshop studio. And this time I will just ask to be followed. So yeah, basically wanted to explain what we say, the 3 levels, I would say, of workshop design. The first one, it's not really actually a level. It's when you just use a basic template, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet or Google sheet, and it's just like row columns and some stickies with the color, the default color, I would say, which is very basic. But the good part is that it does the job. And if you have no experience, I think you feel comfortable with this, but it can be boring. And yeah, after 1.5 years of remote work, we would like to see something different, I would say. But yeah, it does the job, and that's level 1. And if you have no experience about designing boards, I think you should just aim for that level at the beginning. Then we have the level 2, which probably you see quite often. It's when you are, so this was for a French client that their colors were like blue and orange and, just basic stuff. This is the first level of branded board, I would say. So you can play with the colors for the brand of your client. You can add a few more elements that make you think about them. Maybe they have we don't have a lot of typo in Mural, but maybe you can play a bit with them and you can put some pictures, some assets, basic assets from Mural. And you can even start to use external tools like Figma, where you can design some shape and incorporate, but maybe this is already a bit tricky. But I think the level 2 is what we often see now on many workshops, that we can see pictures on LinkedIn, for example, I think. And for design sprint, it works quite well also. Because as you voted, the agenda layout is quite popular, and yeah, this is okay. And then we have the level 3, which is Storytel board. Like, this is a picture of a workshop we did, I think it was last year or the beginning of the year. It was around the Icebreaker. We had 200 or 300 people. We had several boards, but this one was the kind of introduction to the activity, presentation of people. This is a bit more rare for the month, but we start to see more and more also, I guess. I think we have Lisa in the participant who is creating nice boards also. I don't know for everyone, I didn't see their creation, but yeah, we have more and more people doing like this. It's a bit more tricky because you really need to not get lost with the design of the board. You need to work on the UX UI of the workshop, which is a bit different from a website, but still you can get inspiration from UX UI of websites. And a few more points that we kept for this. So it's about gamification. You can really increase the engagement of participants with the Storytel board, I would say, even with the level 2. You have to think of ways to keep them engaged with the design in the template, for example, with the mountain, we have like ski, people doing ski, and they could move it and they can have information, they can play a bit with the elements of the background. So it's not just for fun, actually. People are more engaged in the workshop. And we tried this also with leadership workshop recently and other clients. You can use it to help understand the flow of the workshop. If the story is kind of well built, I would say, from the beginning of the story to the end, people would follow easier. Maybe it's not just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe they understand the beginning, the middle, the end of the story, and it can help them navigate the workshop. And yeah, you can go also crazy and like create a watercolor for your company. You can do all other kind of stuff like games online on Mural, as you could see, or I think many things. If we think more about design sprint, you don't want to go that far, I guess, because you don't want to lose your participant into that kind of things maybe, but you can still play a bit for the icebreaker, energizer, and even just to say like day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can maybe find a metaphor to represent, I guess. Yeah, so maybe now we can move to the next floor, which is template tips. I can has to be followed again if needed. The first part is like we want to humanize the participants. So this is something some people start to do as well. Is like you can create little avatar. You can just use emojis if it's simpler. You can ask people to create their own avatar. You know, for example, with a picture, and you can play with some icons. You combine, and you can have like, for example, an astronaut, and they put their picture in the astronaut, and then you have some kind of fun avatar. It's always good to have this for your participants. They can use Mural even async, or during the workshop at the beginning, they can have a few minutes activity to create their avatar. This is one good recommendation. After we've told a story, so we spoke a bit about it during the storytell example. If you create the story of your workshop in a certain way that works and people understand the story, it will be easier for them to navigate. So yeah, beginning of the story, workshop 1, 2. So for a design sprint, you can go further and have like a board in advance speaking about the client, the project, anything. Then you would have day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can have the retros on the board, for example. So you can play like this for the design sprint. Yeah. After we have to indicate instruction and repeat the instruction. This is quite maybe obvious for some of you, maybe not for some others. So we like to explain more than less, I would say. And so where you have the agenda, for example, you will explain at first the instruction, what people need to do, that kind of stuff. But after, once again, on the areas where you want people to work, to brainstorm, to anything, you would add again this instruction because you don't want people to need to zoom in and out to move to see to understand. So always better to repeat the instruction close to the space for the exercise. Then you would have to provide summary area. This is something I did for a design sprint actually. As I was doing the several days and several different mural, I was always having a summary area in the bottom right with what we just achieved during the day of the sprint. You can just drag the result of some brainstorm, for example, and you can add the link for the next day also. It's good to have an area like this for a big workshop or design sprint actually. I will show you after I have some example. The parking lot, so yeah, I mean, it's a tip, but in my case, I don't do it often because I kind of say to people they can let other information a bit where they want, and then I can just clean and drag and do something. But I know it's something quite common to have a parking lot zone on your template. So on the left, on the bottom, sorry, on the right, on the bottom, for example, just people can drag ideas that may be interesting, but not for the actual workshop, but you want to keep it, for example, for later. Then yeah, estimate the right amount of stickies, and there's something that's not written. It's also when you design a workshop, try to get the normal scale of a sticky always somewhere, because you know when you start to play with the size of the stickies for some reason, then you kind of can get lost in the proportion. It's always good to have a basic sticky like with the default size that you can do in Mural, and you have it somewhere as a reference point. And so if you think about an activity of X participant and I don't know Y numbers of stickies, try to think in advance how much stickies you want for your exercise so you can adjust the proportion of the frame of the exercise, for example. And then add the agenda, of course, obviously. Always an agenda, top left or anywhere you want, but somewhere obvious at the beginning that you will use to present the agenda to participant. And if you're facilitating, it's also good to have maybe a bigger agenda, not on the Mural, but somewhere else, on another Mural, for example, or on your phone, so that you can really follow what you need to do during your session. Yeah, that's basically what we have for the template tips so far, and we have resource if you go to the right. Also, something important, think about an emergency solution, which could be having a Google Sheet or something else, or even a Miro or anything open in case it crashes in Mural or with Zoom. So to have a secondary solution, I would say. It doesn't happen often, but when it happens, you are happy to have a backup solution. And we would like to ask you if you have some tips or what you have experienced in 1.5 years. Maybe you have your own ways of doing the things. So here we have a space with some stickies, and we would love to hear from you. So you can just double click and add your own tips or best practice or what you saw, your experience, or we would love to hear from you. But yeah, let's maybe put 2 minutes for this, and we'll see if you need more minutes. How is it in the chat?
Yeah, so the first one is very important to lock everything.
While they're writing that out there, Bertha had a question of how long it took you to create that storytell board.
So do you, yeah, please go ahead.
No. Concretely, it depends of the board. It could for small design we can do it in 1 or 2 hours. But it depends of the complexity. For example, for this one, because for this one we design everything from the all the case arring character from the museum. So we have one part in Figma. Benjamin did all the Figma stuff. I don't know how much you spend, for example, but
yeah, sometimes, but it was mainly designing all the assets, the icons for the icebreaker, that kind of stuff. Took some time. Otherwise, it can be quite fast. Depends. Yeah.
But for a good one, we always take like 1 day in total for a big one. But for more complex, because you always have iteration with the customer, because we sell our service to enterprise. So it's always like you can have like 2 days or 3 days of exchange. But for if you have all in mind, it could be like 2 hours for that.
Recently, I had a workshop, took me 1 week or more, but it's also because you come back with the client and you check and you iterate, and yeah, depends, but yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. I'm with Bertha. I mean, I've always thought Mural is fun, but never thought we could make it this fun.
So what do we have? Yeah, lock everything, as you said, back up everything. Use the Mural outline. Yeah, the outline, I don't know, recently I use it less and less. I don't know why. But yeah, I think it's super useful for participants to just say click on the outline to navigate, and you can add a lot of tips in the outline or instruction also that's not bothering your design, for example. So this is a good one. Yeah, activities take longer than what you think, of course. It's really important to know, because if you try to put too much things in your workshop, then you will end up late, or you don't finish, or you go too fast. So it's not the best experience.
I really like this one. Yes, yeah. we always take 1.5 is quite a good number, but I would like to say that we need like 30% more time. That's normal in a normal activity. So if you have normally a 1 hour workshop, just take 1 hour and 20 minutes to do it online.
Yeah. I'll just take a few minutes to reflect. This one, the create areas so that you can have downloadable areas for later documentation for a client, is great. Actually, you can send either the PDF of the full workshop, but also you can just have some part of the workshop, some exercise. You need to have an area, otherwise you cannot export it, but you can just right click of the things you want to make an area, and then you can export. It's true, it's really useful. Then we have the use private mode for ideation. I think I didn't see it often in workshop, but I love it because it's true. If you normally you ideate in silence and you don't want to be bothered by other people, but actually you can read what they are writing, and it always made me confused. Like I'm reading, I'm not sure if I should write it. Whereas if you're in private mode, I think it's much better. But I don't know if a lot of people are using this feature so far. I don't see it often. And I think I saw one last. Which was, I think, group items in a smart way. Yeah, when you start to have a complex mural, it's good to think about how you group the item. Otherwise, if you have to lock during the workshop, and it could be messy quite fast, depending on how you group your stuff. So I think, yeah, it's a good tip also. Then is it you or me, Jérémy, for the next one? Oh, no, I think it's yours now. You have the Cape Town.
We can do one, and I can do one, and you can do. Okay, let's go to the next one. So for we will give you some example of what we did. So and every time we put the example of what we did and how we made it, what with for example. So for this example, this one is like a captain theme. This one is it's a more onboarding activity and to understand how to use Miro. So you can find it with the link. And for this one, you ask how long I take to create for this one. I think for this one I took like 2 hours to do it, but so I did it with the form from Miro, some icon for the house and for some stuff, and I draw some element for the mountain or for some line for that. So yes, you can have the link for this one. Yeah, for the next one. So the next one is it was one of the first we do it. We did it. For this one, we only use form from Miro and emoji to add like animal or some fish and everything. This one took like 3 hours to do it, but it was one of the first one. And for the last one, this one was very more complex. We did this one with Benjamin and two other people from Make Teamworks.
Make Teamwork. Yeah.
Yes, it was like a meetup, 90-minute meetup. It was more complex because we had to design everything, all the elements. So we did like a Figma design system, and after we import all the form and all the elements. So this one, and we iterate a lot with the other team from Make Teamworks. Because we wasn't sure about the layout. We had this activity, this one, and so yes, for this one it's more like 1 week time. So yes, you can find all the example with the link for that. I don't know if Benjamin you want to add something.
Yeah, I think I can. So I can quickly just speak about this. I started a YouTube channel where I would love you to check the YouTube channel because I'm making videos about how I design in Mural. So I think you could learn some stuff, some tips on how to use Mural or just tips for designing in Mural. So when you have time, it would be great that you can have a look to this. You would find useful resource. And I want to share also, if I can share my screen actually, Kim. I don't know if I'll try to request. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Perfect. Thanks. I don't like the Zoom. I still don't know what they are doing like this. Okay, so quickly, I want to share one design sprint I did once. It was async half and sync. And anyway, it was a bit complex. We had 45 participants. It was more of a learning experience of the design sprint process than a real design sprint for a client. I just want to show you that you can do some stuff. So it's not super well designed. It's more about how you can set up the design sprint and have a lot of participants. And also it's in French, but you had tips like what they could do online, offline each time, because we had to do the design sprint in months, but only with 2 or 3 sync workshops and a lot of async work for participants. I just wanted to share this. So the kickoff and people presenting themselves, but async, so you can have a look to everyone, but you don't want to waste too much time because if you have 45 people, even if they have 1 minute to present, already 45 minutes. The agenda, the brief, everything at the beginning. We had the expert interview. We had the map. The map with 40 people was quite crazy, but we could do it. And this is the part where we say you want to have a space to add the summary of the day, so what they achieved, like the map, the obstacle, the long-term goal, that kind of things, explaining the next day what's going to happen, or the work they have to do between the two workshops. Yeah, that was the design sprint, and you can see that even you can go far in the storyboarding, I would say even a bit wireframing. So I tried to create some elements for a wireframe within Mural. At that time, it was an experiment. So the cheat is that many people were UI designer or students, so it was easier for them, I guess. But in the end, they managed to make a mix of elements from Mural by hand also. Sometimes they were mixing the hand drawn, maybe not on this one because we had 5 rooms, but anyway, they were combining different tools to create some interesting, I think, storyboard and even the wireframe after. Yeah, and this is another day of this sprint, but anyway, the idea you can understand, I would say. And another template that I'm working on, which is more about designing templates, designing workshop. So this is an example. It could be a road trip workshop where you have stop and you have exercise on the way. And so I'm working on this, and this is all with native shapes, which is, I think, more interesting in the end. You can use Figma to create cool stuff and import in Mural, but if you use native shapes, actually you can easily change colors or make some modification. And so I think it's something that people will be willing to use, if I can say. You can combine GIF and shapes and some nice effect. I think this is where we are going to dig deeper with Jérémy, with virtual workshop. I just wanted to show you that you can do a lot of stuff just with native shapes in Mural. And I think it's more flexible. Yeah. And we can go back to the board, to the Mural board. We are now into the Q&A room. So we would like to hear if you have questions or anything, like we can have maybe 4 or 5 minutes for the Q&A. So please don't hesitate. You can ask questions and get off mic, or you can write them and you can answer as you prefer.
Yeah, actually, I have a quick question while maybe some of you guys are still thinking about your questions. You showed us the design sprint board. I saw one of the challenges that I find whenever we're running design sprints online is doing the storyboarding as a team. You managed to have 45 people, even if they're UI and UX designers, to create like a sensible storyboard. How did you prepare for that? I saw that there was like a little library of templates or icons that you wanted them to use. Is that something that you built while talking to them?
Yeah, so at that time, I had maybe 1 week to prepare the storyboard session, so it was easier. I made a template. Each group, I think it was like 7 or 8 people in each group, like maybe I don't know, 5 groups, 6 groups. And they had the same kind of template explaining the process of the storyboard, providing some assets directly made in Mural that they could use. And they had the frame where they could put either the picture of what they did, the idea, or their working space. The idea was like everyone of the team, like 7 people, would do the storyboard, and then they would together discuss, vote, highlight parts, something like this. At the end, they had to combine their 7 storyboards in one. That would be the one of their team. It was something like this, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So for all the participants, Jérémy and Ben have put up stickies there if you guys want to type in any questions. I also just want to take this opportunity. I know it's we're nearing our end time, but Ben briefly touched on it, almost quietly touched on it, but they are working on an advanced designing or an advanced masterclass on how to design better workshop experiences. That's something that if you guys would like to talk about it, we welcome it. I'm sure a lot of you might be interested. So I give the floor to you while we type up our questions.
Yeah, thanks. It seems that we don't have a question so far, so I guess everyone is good with this part. Jérémy, do you want to explain the last part with the little guy dancing?
Go for it. Go for it.
Actually, you made an icon. So it's just the last part. So we want to, some networking. So even if we know some of you, you can just click on a guy, duplicate, Control D, drag it to the right, where there's the dance floor, sorry, in English. And we would like you to add your LinkedIn profile if you want, and so we can know who is who. We can connect with you if we are not already connected. And yeah, that's a little activity at the end. I think we have a time already going.
Yeah, and after, so let's do the party, but if needed at the end, we put all the resources. So we put on our LinkedIn profile, and we add 2 other resources. So our website, virtual workshop.design. So we, for your information, we sell our service to design board. And then you have the Bordel.io. So you can, it's the website where you can find all kind of workshop from Mural, Milanotes, all the whiteboard app you can know. So don't hesitate to see it, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to come back to us. And I hope you enjoy the session, and we will be happy to help if needed.
Yeah, and just on time. Perfect. Yeah, you can check virtualworkshop.design. And so we didn't finish to create our masterclass. Just if you're interested, you can add your email on the sticky in the mural, or you can just send us a DM in LinkedIn, or anything is fine. Probably it will be at the end of August or beginning of September that we want to polish the thing first. And yeah, don't hesitate also to reach out for any question. We are happy to collaborate, help. I mean, even just tips like this, we love what we are doing. So it's always a pleasure to share. Maybe Kim, do you want to add something to conclude, or I don't know if you have any?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you everyone for coming to attend today's Lunch and Learn, as we now call it during the summer. But most especially, thank you to Benjamin and Jeremy for preparing this amazing topic for us. We learned a lot. It was super quick and it was packed with a lot of good stuff. And I'm excited to learn more about your upcoming advanced master class. It's something that I'm really looking forward to. So I'll definitely reach out to you guys. And again, what Benjamin and Jeremy said, if you guys have any questions, whether it's about design sprint or whether for the design sprints, you can reach out to me. For the designing boards and workshop experiences, you can reach out to Jeremy and Benjamin. I did link the virtual workshop.design and Bordel.io on the chat here so that you can check out the 2 resources that Jeremy has just shared. And you know where to find us on Meetup and or LinkedIn. And then lastly, before I lose everybody here, I would like to invite you to just fill out a really quick 30-second survey on Typeform, just to let us know how everything went. And if you have any other further questions, you can drop it in there as well. It's 3 parts or 3 questions, and it's super, super easy. So I'm going to share that here on our chat. And meanwhile, while we're in the party room, I am going to play some music.
Yeah.